So, Preston, you know what I realized about the whole series as Game of Thrones comes to an end this Sunday?
Huh? That your life will be empty.
That my life would be empty without this fucking show frustrating myself and everybody else. But no, besides that, it's Game of Thrones, as long as it's been running, has never had a year where people weren't aware of what happens next. Right? Whether it's from seasons 1 through 5, which covers the books very heavily, to a lesser extent as time goes on, people still knew what happened next. People still knew Jon Snow was going to be stabbed. People still knew that, there was going to be a whole Joffrey death thing. People still knew stuff about it. But the moment we got to season 6 is when I firmly believe that, the show went its own direction. And even then, when we got to season 6, there was that Spanish douchebag who got those leaks and was just leaking everything out. I think HBO should have sued his ass to oblivion, but that's just my personal opinion. But ever since season 6, leaks have been prevalent on YouTube, so much so. And we've never had, for as long as this show has been running, a year where there were no spoilers for anybody.
Yeah, and in some of those seasons they were a bit slow, and there weren't that many spoilers to be had, but they were big. Like, I think everyone kind of knew it had been out and about that the Sept was going to get blown up by Cersei. And I'm trying to think anything else. I mean, some of the stuff is obvious. Like, Jon is going to win the Battle of the Bastards against Ramsay. Did people know that Sansa was going to feed Ramsay to a dog? I don't know.
And I think that's what really matters, the little details, right? The little details that set aside from the big decisions. Because we all knew that Jon was going to come back, but how? Right?
Yeah, so, everyone knew that Jon was going to come back. Yeah.
We all knew that the Night King had to be defeated, but how? And it's those details that really matter. But still, it's just a damn shame. And my policy with spoilers is I've tried covering them before because people have asked me to, and I just don't like doing it. You said something that I agree with wholeheartedly about the first season of Westworld, how there was that sense of camaraderie and community when we were all watching it together and nobody knew what was going to happen. Everybody was theorizing, and it was just fun. And I feel like there hasn't been a lot of fun in terms of, the community watching Thrones together since season 5.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. So,
I mean, for most people that don't seek out spoilers, they were pretty shocked, like, by Dany's turn. So it's like good. It's good at least they got that shock, though most of them didn't like it.
Right.
This wasn't like the Red Wedding where everyone's like, oh, God, how could they do that? But they loved it anyway. This was a change in which most people didn't like it.
Right, because of how rushed it was. So my whole policy on spoilers is I don't do them. However, I'm going to break that for right now because this is the final episode and because I know there are supposed to be multiple endings that they shot to the point where the actor for Samuel Tarly, John Bradley, said even he doesn't know how it all ends. So you, in passing, told me that you read some of the endings that could be possible.
Yes.
So do you want to get into that, or do you want to get into the other stuff before we get into that?
Sure. No, so I've been reading different stuff, and it's funny because there used to be a lot more, and then certain people were more successwell at guessing, and so they've kind of pinned the people down as like the real spoilers.
They narrowed it down.
Yeah.
Before we continue, I just want to let the audience know, I have not read any of the spoilers. Things have been spoiled here and there, like how do I explain this? People have attempted to spoil, but they were really dumb about it. Like, someone said that Bran was going to die in episode 3. It never happened. So I've kept clear of most spoilers. So everything you're about to tell me is me hearing it for the first time. And even when you tell me, we still don't know what the true ending is going to be. They could pull a 180, pull the rug out from under us, and everything we've read still could not be it. They could have released all these endings by themselves. Like, that's what I would do. I would purposely leak these out. So...
Exactly, and then everyone will be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say, like... the stuff I read, it's like, I could see that happening. That's stupid enough to be the ending. Sure. it frustrates me because there's no time travel in any of the endings that I've read,
Aw.
which doesn't make sense to me because you introduce fucking time travel into the story. You think it would happen, but no discussion of time travel.
Okay.
Too bad. Too bad. Too bad. All right. So, so a lot of it's not, it's hard to talk about the ending because it's like what happens to the various characters. And so there is some slight variation in what happens to each one. But I guess there's a few subjects that I can talk about that are a little ambiguous right now, that we know something is coming up. But the question is, why? Why is it coming up?
What's coming up? The Dragon Pit meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
So we know that there was some filming in Sevilla, which means there's probably going to be a scene at the Dragon Pit because that site is near Sevilla. And so the question is why are all of these lords and ladies meeting at the Dragon Pit? Like, what's the function of the Dragon Pit?
It's the is it? I don't want to say Is it the Great Council? Do you think it could be?
Well, that's the thing is there could be a great council. They also talk about various trials that different people can have for the crimes they've committed. And so there's talk of a Jon trial. And there's talk of a Tyrion trial.
Okay.
And so the Jon trial seems pretty likely. The Tyrion trial is something that it's hard to say, and it's hard to say what would happen. There's a couple different leaks out on which way they're sending the Tyrion character. So one of them is Tyrion is getting exposed for actually helping the Lannisters the entire time. That Bran reveals the line, "I never bet against my family."
Oh, that's a good one. I like that. Bran coming out of nowhere.
It's almost too good. It's like so good that I'm like, that's like better writing than the show. Like for Bran to say, I never bet against my family, and then for it to go back and be like, it's true. Like, as much as Tyrion has a problem with Cersei, he wouldn't kill her because she's a Lannister. Of course, I never go against my family. Well, tell that to Tywin. You shot him in the belly. But so there is some idea that perhaps Tyrion is going to go on trial, and he's going to be exposed for things he said, like how he hates everybody in King's Landing and how he never bets against his family, and that he was really actually working, to protect Cersei the whole time and not to protect the people from in King's Landing. I don't think this is very likely because Tyrion had a private meeting with Jaime where he quite openly and earnestly talked about his care for the people in the city, in contradiction to his original trial in season 4. So there's the idea that Tyrion could be executed at the end of this trial, but then there's other discussion that Tyrion is pardoned and he becomes Hand of the King again.
Hand of the King. Okay. Not Hand of the Queen. Hand of the King. Okay, go ahead.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Before we get to who sits on the Iron Throne, because that's one of the reasons I won't watch your favorite show of all time, Leftovers. The whole question of where all these people went doesn't get answered. I hate stuff like that. I want the answer of who sits on the throne. Okay, so we'll get that towards the end. But what else are there variants in these multiple endings?
So most of the endings do talk about Jon having a trial for his crimes.
What are his crimes?
And, his crimes against conspiring against Dany.
Okay.
And I'm saying that ranges from, his past his past conspiracies of like trying to, or his of telling Sansa, for example, as the smallest of those crimes to regicide as the largest of these possible crimes. But nonetheless,
Wait, regicide?
It seems regicide as in like killing the monarch.
Yeah, who?
Killing Dany.
Oh. Wait a minute. This trial happens after he supposedly kills Dany?
Well, yeah. I mean, so some of the leaks say that Jon is going to kill Dany.
What?
Nisa style, all of that.
I kind of expected it, but still, okay.
And then others are like, well, he's still going on trial because for other issues, maybe just conspiring against the queen or whatever.
Wait, so who's running the trial?
I think a great council.
Oh, okay. Well, So it's both Jon and Tyrion on trial by all the great lords of Westeros?
Yeah, I think separately though.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Jon stabbing Dany, I mean, that was always, I guess, a planned thing. But why would they care about Dany being killed?
I think according to the leaks, Grey Worm, after Dany is killed, Grey Worm becomes the effect, like has all the power. Because he's in control of the army. And so they need to appease Grey Worm.
What the flying fuck? That sounds dumb. Wait. First off, I know how you are. What is your thought on that, the Grey Worm thing?
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah, about right as in like it's dumb or it's likely to happen.
No, I mean both. That it's dumb and it's likely to happen.
No. Okay, go, I'm sorry.
Just because it leads to where like most of the leaks say. Mm-hmm. Like most of the leaks say that Jon rejoins the Night's Watch.
I could see that happening.
Yeah.
But isn't the Night's Watch destroyed though?
Right, and the wall has a big hole in it, and so there's a big question of like how, why there would be a Night's Watch if there's no White Walkers or even wildlings or war against the wildlings, and there's a big hole in the wall. So there's a question on how is the wall going to get fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Can Bran just magic it closed? And it doesn't seem like in his set of abilities, or maybe the wall just naturally heals itself. But nearly everything points to whether Jon is put on trial, by Dany or somebody else, or whether he's put on trial by this council. Jon has to go to the wall for his past crimes. Is definitely something that seems to be happening. And then there's the question of what does Jon do? There seems to be this idea that Jon goes north of the wall to have a reunion with Ghost and Tormund, and there is some discussion that they find bodies that arranged in a pattern that show that the Night's King or that the White Walkers are still alive.
Ooh, that would be a nice ending. Stupid transition into it, but I would like that to be a nice little cliffhanger thing.
Right. That this this battle is still going, or it's just one big cycle.
Right. Ooh, that's a good one. Cycle of death and rebirth, endlessly trading. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, so most of the other stuff is, everybody's pretty consistent that Drogon just flies off. Yeah. And almost everything is consistent that Arya goes west. Jumps out of ship and goes west.
What's west of Westeros? Lonely Light?
Past Lonely Light, Gilbert Farwind territory. The land of always summer or whatever, where the elves go.
The elves go.
The
Undying Lands.
The Undying Lands, where Gilbert Farwind wanted to go.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah. So for the most part, everything's pretty consistent that that the other lords and ladies are pretty like nothing happens to them. Like Sweet Robin is going to stay Sweet Robin. Sansa's going to stay Sansa.
Is there
Gendry is going to stay Gendry.
Is there any like claim, like is there any actual confirmed people of attendance? Because I think you said like you saw like the actress for Sansa and the actress for Sweet Robin together at one point.
Well, yeah. So the actor for Sweet Robin was seen in Sevilla. So there's an idea that he is going to be at the Great Council, and Sansa's probably going to be at the Great Council, and probably Gendry.
Okay. So we have the Lord of the Vale, the Lady of Winterfell, the Lord of Storm's End.
Stormland.
Yeah. No Edmure Tully.
No word on him. I mean, he's still in the cast list, but there's no word on him.
Alaria's probably still alive.
Oh, there are stories about someone wearing gold. So the new Prince of Dorne seems to be going to be at this dragon.
Actually, no, Alaria's not alive with everything just being destroyed in the Red Keep.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I'm finally going to say that the High Septon finally died. The poor guy. Like, he's just put in the dungeons for years, and then the Red Keep collapses on top of him. But yes.
So is House Tarly now the new Warden of the South? Does it say anything about your favorite character, Sam?
Yes, apparently, according to the leaks, Sam is the brainchild for all of these things. He's the brainchild for a great council and selecting a new monarch.
That makes more sense than most of the stuff I've heard already.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense because Sam always seems to be the one guy that really, comes in here and does all this stuff. So that would make sense. I would also like Sam to end up as Warden of the South, if it's even possible.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There are some leaks say that Bronn is going to be, Lord of Highgarden, which just sounds stupid. Like, why would he be Lord of Highgarden? Like, that's just dumb. I mean, it makes more sense to give it to Sam.
Book fans would be fucking annoyed. Casual fans would be like, yeah, about time. So,
and so yes, so apparently they're going to have a great council, which seems about right, and choose the monarch of Westeros.
Okay, so this is the one thing that all the variations we're done with that, right? We can finally move on to the main event.
Yeah, the main event. Things are pretty consistent on this. That they're all.
Before you tell me who sits on the throne, give me your thoughts on it. Is it bad?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Ooh, like on a scale from 1 to 10, bad. Like 1 being not that bad, 10 being oh my god, what happened?
I mean, a 10 would be Arya sitting on the throne.
Okay.
So that it's not that bad.
And an 11 would be Gilly sitting on the throne. Let's make that clear.
No, that would be great.
Oh, it would not be.
So it's not as bad as Arya,
but it's still bad.
It's still bad.
Oh man, who do I hate? Who would be stupid to sit on the throne? Tyrion being president of Westeros, that was always retarded.
That would be pretty bad.
Fucking Grey Worm, I would flip. It's not gonna be Gendry. Gotta be too perfect. For me, at least.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem, is that Gendry would be divine right and all of that. So if they're having a great council, it doesn't seem like they'd choose Gendry, but, yeah.
So, well, because Sansa's fucking in attendance, she's gonna want someone that she likes a lot, which is, so if it can't be Jon.
Well, the question is who else, who does everybody like? Who does everybody like and nobody hate?
Who does everybody like? I don't know. Who does nobody hate?
I mean, nobody hates Sam.
Okay.
Nobody hates Gendry.
Nobody hates Gendry. Nobody hates Sam. You're right. Okay, but it's not gonna be those two because you would want Sam on the throne. I would want Gendry on the throne because Baratheons forever.
I mean, all things considered, probably the best ruler would be Sam. He's probably the smartest and one, right? I mean, except forgiving his forgetting about Dragonglass, but yeah.
You don't let things go, man.
Yeah.
who does nobody hate? Because everybody hates somebody, right? But there are characters nobody like really gives a fuck about enough to really hate them.
Yeah.
Gendry and Sam is one. I am thinking of one character, but I don't want it to be this character. Who else is left? Who else is left after that? Davos? Nobody hates Davos.
No. Davos would probably be a really good leader too. I mean, I actually like a lot of these rulers wouldn't be bad. Sansa has proven herself to be a really good administrative, like ruler.
Right.
You know, like Davos would probably be a really fantastic ruler. Sam would probably be a really good, fantastic ruler. I mean, this ruler would be fucking abysmal. But
so it is Arya.
No. It's not Arya. But
there's one character I'm purposely. First off, the one guy I'm thinking of. I would want it to be Tormund, by the way, just for shits and giggles, just to be an asshole.
Sure.
But the one person I'm thinking of who it could sit on the Iron Throne, even though you say it's dumb, it would fall in line perfectly with your theory.
Yeah.
You know this. Go ahead, tell me.
Oh, you're talking about Sweet Robin?
No, not Sweet Robin. It would fall in line with your theory about another character connected to the Weirwood net. And if you're fucking telling me it's going to be Bran, I'm going to get really annoyed.
That's what all of the leaks say.
Oh my fucking... What? How, bro? How? See, what I thought was going to happen was, because Sansa has a lot of sway with all the remaining High Lords, she has sway with Gendry, I guess. Because, Stark, Arya. She has sway with Sam. With Sweet Robin. She doesn't have sway with the new Dornish prince, because who gives a fuck? But, who else is there left to really complain? She has some sway with Yara being so close to Theon. So, wait, is Yara there?
I think they show Yara in like a So this is what's horrible is they claim there's going to be like a montage at the end, and that Yara might like appear in the montage but I'm not sure if she's at the Dragon Pit. But I think she's in the montage.
She should be at the Dragon Pit meeting.
She should.
Right. So Bran sitting on the Iron Throne. How does that make any sense? And it falls in line with your theory.
And we say Iron Throne metaphorically because the Iron Throne doesn't survive.
Oh, it doesn't.
Yeah, there's apparently supposed to be this super lame scene where Drogon burns and melts the Iron Throne.
Oh.
Before he flies off forever.
That's so
to never be seen again.
Fucking retarded. But Bran being the main monarch in the Seven Kingdoms falls in line with the theory you have that the Children of the Forest somehow got into his mind and are somehow controlling him, and therefore they're the last evil, the hidden boss, if you will.
Right, and that now the children of the Forest are ruling the world.
Yeah. Or at least Westeros.
Yeah.
Huh. So it's Bran.
Supposedly. Now, I guess the thing is I don't know how that election could come out, because the only people that know, like, yes, Sam Tarly might choose Bran, and Sansa might choose Bran, and Tyrion might choose Bran. So, I guess if you're going, like, if the council is, like, of 7 people, and they're going for a plurality vote, I guess, So that would be 3 votes. If Sam is the head of the Reach, and Sansa the head of the North, and Tyrion the head of the Westerlands, and Sweet Robin's just going to follow whatever Sansa does. And who knows, Edmure Tully? I have no idea what Edmure Tully. Maybe Edmure Tully's going to be there, but you can see maybe it would go that way.
But like I said, even Gendry would follow what Sansa does because he was there. He respects her to some extent, and her sister. And
right, but he's never. But so these people have never had a conversation with Bran, so I don't know.
Right.
But nonetheless, he just would be such a horrible leader.
Why would you say that?
Well, why would anyone follow like some robot voice guy who's just says weird cryptic things?
Because he knows everything, and like he's the perfect person to dish out justice, I guess. Like, if you try to lie to him, he'll know. If you try to plot against him, I guess he'll know. So where
Yeah, I mean,
does it say where the new seat of power is instead of King's Landing? Is it going to be in Winterfell because of Bran, or?
I mean, that's interesting. That's an interesting thing, is that he knows everything, and that you can't plot against him, and he has the history of all mankind, so no one wants to kill him off.
And well, the new seat of power in the books, if this was going to be a thing in the books, God, I hope not. It would have to be the God's Eye.
Yeah.
Because where instead of other than beyond the wall, where in the south is the weirwood net strongest? The God's Eye.
Right.
So, but the God's Eye have never been introduced in the show, so it would make no sense for them to really do it.
I mean, it kind of makes it. I mean, that's the thing, is it does fit with George R.R. Martin's writing a little bit. So his story, and Seven Times Never Kill Man, it has a rather ambiguous ending, but it most mirrors how we see the Children of the Forest. So the plot of the story is essentially there's this planet with these pyramids, and these pyramids are worshipped by this primitive race of apes, humanoid ape-like people, essentially Ewoks or Wookiees, called the Janshi. And the Janshi worship these pyramids, and everybody thinks that they're super primitive, and so this religious cult called the Steel Angels, worshiping their god Bacalon, come in and they start, imperializing and taking land and killing off the Janshi and destroying their pyramids. It's the exact story. It's the exact story of the First Men's first arrival, when they started burning down the werewoods and pushing the children of the forest away. It's the exact same one. Then the story ends with the pyramids start telepathically putting ideas in the Steel Angels' heads, until many of them get killed off, and the ones that aren't killed off essentially start worshiping the pyramids too. And so this is, if you see, it's kind of the same ending, where you have, there's still, there's a change, like, and in Sometimes Never Kill Man, there's still a change. Like, they're not worshiping the same pyramids. They worship a different type of pyramid, but it's still the same. Like, they're still following the Children of the Forest. It's still Bran. But, things have still come around to that ending. Like, there's been a synthesis where, the Children of the Forest ruled, man ruled, and now there's this synthesis of Bran, who is this combination of the Children of the Forest and man, now controlling everything again.
Fuck, this sounds so bad.
Right, but he knows everything, he controls everything, he's all powerful. They've submitted to this. He's become the new werewood net, right? And the human beings have submitted to the new werewood net, just like the Children of the Forest submitted to a werewood net. I know, as I explained it, like I very badly explained it.
No, you're fine. It's just Bran taking over. First off, the fact that there's no Iron Throne, I feel like is an insult. Second, Drogon just flying off. Okay, like, what are you really gonna do with a fucking dragon? I guess Jon can't take him north because they don't like the snow.
Well, I think they need Drogon to fly off if they're really gonna find that the White Walkers are still alive. Right? Because you still need, if the big balance is dragons and White Walkers, then you still need a dragon alive if you're going to have some White Walkers alive. He's going to go off and lay eggs one day. I don't know. Maybe Tormund's going to start his own Craster's Keep. But, something, it sounds like the cycle is beginning again, or everything comes back to balance.
I always thought, like, the prequel, The Long Night thing that they're doing, which, by the way, started filming, I believe, 2 or 3 weeks ago, was so dumb and pointless, because I really don't care. What intrigues me about Game of Thrones is the Game of Thrones, not the supernatural zombie army. But the fact that if the show does end with Jon meeting back up with Tormund and Ghost and them finding the dead bodies in that, symbol First off, that is most likely definitely going to happen because that's how we start the first episode with where the Rangers Beyond the Wall find that. So it's like poetry, it rhymes. They love to do that. So that is most likely going to happen, and that's very cool and chilling, and it still has that horror element that I love and I'm a huge sucker for. And if it ends on that little cliffhanger, that would be awesome. That would make sense to the whole Long Night prequel thing. You know, why does it keep happening over and over and over again? Is this the destiny of Westeros? To constantly be going through this cycle of death and rebirth with this supernatural entity. That's kind of cool. But at the same time, though, I am more interested in the Game of Thrones. And I think that's where they failed here, is the Game of Thrones.
Yeah, but it does kind of all make sense now that you think, now that I think about it.
What do you mean?
That everything, George R.R. Martin likes to write about these circles and everything being a circle again. And Bran doesn't join the weirwood net, but essentially he becomes his own new weirwood net. That everybody is going to be worshiping. I mean, I don't know how he's going to pass down his knowledge. I mean, maybe he will sit in a tree at the end. I don't know. And he'll rule from a tree because there's no Iron Throne anymore. I have no idea. But, it does seem to be that the lords and ladies of Westeros are now the children of the forest, and they've submitted to this all-powerful network that knows everything. And the same things are still out there. The White Walkers, the dragons.
What about Mira? Does Mira come back at the end? Does the leak say anything about that?
No mention of Mira.
Oh, wow. Well, that's a big betrayal, because she's definitely going to be in the books towards the very end, especially if Bran's involved.
Oh, sure. Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, when it all happens next week,
You mean this week?
It all happens on Sunday. We'll see the details fleshed out, but like, yeah, I mean,
I hope to God that there's a different ending. I hope to God that they were smart enough to leak this ahead of time, because they've been having many seasons of leaks. I remember in season 4, was it 4, where they leaked 4 episodes in a row. So, was it season 4 or season 4? Season 4, where they leaked 4 episodes in a row. You remember that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I remember that season.
So, yeah, Bran being the main monarch. I gotta say, that does suck. It's not that good.
No. And it also just no answers. Like, no real answers on why the uneven seasons, why the White Walkers, why the dragons, why the eggs, why did Dany survive the pyre, why did it all happen now? Like, why were these things in synthesis? Why did Jon come back from the dead? What the hell? What's the deal with R'hllor?
Yeah, that's what I kind of wanted to know. The White Walkers, once again, that'll be explained in the Long Night prequel. Maybe the seasons will as well. So maybe we'll get some kind of thing on that. Maybe we'll also get some kind of answers to the Lord of Light in the prequel series as well. So that's why I think they're going for the prequel, because I would love a Dance of the Dragons, or I would love Fire and Blood. Once again, this is my wish list. Each season of Fire and Blood would be one chapter from the Fire and Blood book. So
it's funny, I realized when I was like explaining everything for the past 30 minutes that I was explaining it like really slow and broken, because it was almost like I was like painfully giving out these little pieces of information that I know that you're going to hate. Like, your parents are dead. Like,
and it's really sad too, because it's really sad too, because I've tried this for this past few seasons. I've tried very hard to be in that casual show fan mentality where, it's whatever, try to enjoy what you can. But how can you really enjoy that ending if Bran really does become the main guy to rule? And not only that, but the Iron Throne, the thing they've been fighting for the most, being burned, and then Drogon just flying off.
Right.
Like, how?
And even,
it is a kind of betrayal.
Even as I read into like these parallels to him being the new three-eyed crow and everybody becoming a new weirwood net, that's me reading into it. Like that's possibly book stuff, but like they're not going to do that in the show. They're just going to put him on a fucking chair
He's already in the chair.
Fair enough. He doesn't need a throne. You're right. Oh, God.
By the way, is there anything else you wanted to discuss? You said like 3 things: the ending, the dragon.
No,
pit.
that was it. That was the meeting of the dragon pit, sitting on the Iron Throne, and the wall. Essentially, like what Jon does north of the wall. So a lot of the leaks just mention him like reuniting with Ghost and being at the wall, and then some talk about him going north and finding those bodies. Him going north and finding those bodies also seems really likely to me.
I just don't understand why people want to go to a fucking frozen wasteland. And maybe it's because I'm Brazilian and generations of my family lived in tropical areas and the thought of the cold is just, I don't like it. But why?
Oh, yeah, and plus, like, especially the north from the show.
Like,
the north in the show is more of a wasteland than the north in the
right.
books. The north in the books, there's woods and, game. It's not that cold. And it's not a frickin' tundra, I mean, that they show in the show.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, it's okay. This is fine. We'll get through it.
This is fine.
We'll get through it. It's okay. It's all right. Everybody, it's okay. Everybody stop yelling. Stop outrage. It's okay. It's all right. It's fine because David Benioff and Dan Weiss, they're not going to be in charge anymore. They're going to Star Wars now to ruin that. So
yes,
it's okay. Someone else will be in charge of Game of Thrones, and hopefully they won't suck as much cock. Who did you say, by the way, was like probably the one person you would want to handle the any Thrones content? Was it Brian Cogman?
Oh yeah, like I'd say anybody that was involved with Deep Space Nine, Brian Cogman, Rick Bergman. I'm trying to remember. Let me pull up.
You don't need to pull it up. I'll take your word for it because I know you. Okay. You will go into this fucking rabbit hole.
Rick. No, I think Rick. There was a Rick Berman was really good. I'm trying to remember what Brian Cogman did before. Brian Cogman wrote the better scripts of Game of Thrones.
Which episodes, like in general?
God, I have to look this up. But I'm on IMDb right now, but he has the better. He has the
better track record for these episodes.
Oh, he wrote The Climb.
Oh,
Bear and the Maiden Fair, Second Sons, Reigns of Castamere, Misa. He wrote, like, trying to remember which ones he was like scriptwriter for.
So all the good episodes from the earlier seasons.
Yeah. I mean, he tends to be on the ones like those episodes in which they're constantly like bringing up continuity porn. Like I was joking about like all of the references to season 1 a lot, but he likes to bring up like connections to the past, like wrapping up old storylines and things like that.
And it's a shame too because I did read an interview with him where he goes, well, he submitted his ideas for the prequel. HBO said no, they want to go into a new direction, and yeah, that's it. He's gonna go to Amazon, do something else.
Oh, jeez.
And did you see that petition that is already almost at 1 million signatures to replace the writers for season 8 and redo it with competent writers?
Yeah, things that'll never gonna happen.
Like, I want it to happen. I think that's great. But I do have a friend of mine who is he does work for graphic designing in the whole HBO thing, and what he did tell me was it's bittersweet for the HBO higher ups because they're fans of Game of Thrones as well. They love it, their family loves it, and all that stuff. And they're in a weird bittersweet position. It's bittersweet because HBO is doing fantastic numbers. Their revenue is up. People are paying more attention to the whole network. Even if it's bad press, it's press nonetheless, which they like. And, their numbers are up, and that's stuff you want as a business person. But as a fan, they too feel as though it was rushed. And even before everything was said, even before the camera started rolling, they knew it was not going to be as good as fans. That's what he told me, my buddy who works for them. That's what he told me, that they tried. The quote he used was near begging Dave and Dan to just do the full 10 episodes. Near begging. Not actually begging, but almost to that point. They were willing to throw money, which reminds me of something that happened with NBC and Seinfeld, where NBC was willing to just put truckloads of cash on Jerry Seinfeld's lawn for him to continue on Seinfeld, but he chose to end it. Same here. HBO was willing to give them more money and more time to finish season 8, so it wouldn't be rushed. And there it is. That's because they are fans of the show. They do like the show, but they like making money more. And season 8 has made them a lot of money despite the fan outrage. That's essentially where we're at with this. So they want to move on as quickly as possible and focus on the long night with new showrunners. Oh well. Preston, thank you for, because are you okay with spoilers? Like, what are your thoughts on it? Because you came out of nowhere and told me you read them, and I've been trying to keep away from them this entire season. So I was like, well, if you read them, I trust your word. I trust you not to overly spoil things for me. Let me know what I'm in store for. Like, are you okay with spoilers?
Yeah, they're fine. I mean, like I say, this was all originally based on books. So originally, we're comparing it against stuff where we knew where it was going originally as well. So it's really just to even everything out. I mean, to go into Game of Thrones with not knowing where it's going is kind of a different experience, right? So I don't know. All
right, man. Well, thank you for joining me, guys. Thank you for joining us. We will see you all on Sunday on Phil's channel. Will you be able to join us, Preston? Because I know you're going on a trip.
Yes.
You sure?
Yes. Yeah, I'll be back.
Sweet. We'll be on, for the final episode, pre-game show on Phil the Issues Guy's channel. And join us again after that for another episode of the Game of Thrones podcast where we close out Season 8 with Episode 6. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.